Hey, what's going on, world? I'm Verone,
I'm Samantha
I'm Jaden.
and we are the Rodriguezes.
Rodriguez's.
And we are here just to share a bit of our testimony and our story with those of you that will watch this video to help encourage you in your journey. Samantha and I have been journeying together now for
They were in our eighth year.
long time.
Yes, too long.
for 8 years, and we've been believing God to give us another child, and He has done just that. And so this video is to share our testimony and our story with you. So stay tuned. We've got a lot to say and a lot to share to help encourage you.
Yeah, so we're gonna start off from the jump. I have PCOS. I wasn't diagnosed from an early age, but found out when we were pregnant with Jaden. And what that looked like for me was up and down, weight gain, weight loss, acne, horrible acne, insomnia, also my menstrual cycle not coming every month. So of course, being 13 years old or 13 to 18, wasn't really thinking about how that could affect one's fertility journey. So I didn't really pay any mind to it. Doctors, of course, said to take birth control. And of course, that did not help. But yeah, so we did that. And I did that. And then, of course, I met Mr. Man here. And then we started to think about how, I didn't really share too much, but you can maybe say, oh, you don't really need to. But he kind of said to me one day that even if we don't have children, he still would want to spend the rest of his life with me. And that was huge, especially for him not knowing my health journey. But yet, still, we got married and we were blessed with this handsome
Little Prince.
handsome little prince.
Say something to the people, Jaden.
So I'm Jaden, and Mama and my mom and my dad and my uncle are pastors of the church.
Okay.
And
Okay, tell them how old you are.
I'm 5 years old, and then next in my birthday I'm turning 6 like my cousin. And my cousin is 6 years old.
Okay. Good job. Okay, mommy and daddy are gonna finish up the rest of the video. Okay. Okay. Go. Yes. So as you guys saw, that was our son, Mr. Jaden. Yeah. So he was brought to us 6 years ago by God, and yeah, as my wife was saying earlier, when we got married, we really didn't know whether or not we were going to be able to conceive. And so when Jaden came, he was our miracle baby. Of course, being a man, I wanted my son first, and God did just that, and we were able to have baby Jaden. Now, a part of this testimony that you guys need to know is Samantha mentioned a little bit earlier about her PCOS, and that came into play with our first pregnancy with Jaden. She had, I don't know if you want to describe some of the things that was going on.
Sure. I had preeclampsia. It was, I guess, not normal, but it was because I had PCOS, I had a higher chance of having that. So I did have preeclampsia. They found out later on in the pregnancy, so that we found out at 30 weeks that I had preeclampsia, and then they took Jaden out of me by emergency C-section at 31 weeks. So it was a interesting time. We had a 2-pound, 8-ounce baby who's now
2 pounds, no more. That's a big boy. Yeah, that's right. So we had Jaden at 31 weeks. It was our first pregnancy.
Yes.
She was young. I was young. We were in our early 20s. And but God gave us our boy. He gave us our child.
Yes, he did.
And being young, we decided to focus on raising him. And then a year later, 5 years ago, we decided to start trying again for another child.
Yes.
I think both of us always wanted a family of 2 kids.
Yes, and
Total
close
family
in
of 4.
age.
That's right. So we started to try again, and that involved several different things. We were back home in Toronto, Ontario, and so we decided to go the full route. I think you definitely weren't on no birth control.
No.
We were doing fertility clinics.
Yeah, well, before that, we tried ourselves.
Of course,
for a
naturally,
year, naturally, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then we did fertility clinics in Mississauga. That was a horrible experience. My heart goes out to anyone who has to deal with fertility clinics. It definitely is an emotional roller coaster, especially if you're in there for the long term. Like if things don't really pick up speed for you quickly, it definitely does weigh on your emotions and your mental state. But we had to do that. We did tests. He did tests.
Sperm counts.
Yep. We did flushing my fallopian tubes, making sure there's no debris, things like that in there. Also, because I have PCOS, it was difficult for me to like lose weight. So that's always what I would hear the doctor say to me: just lose weight and it'll happen. Just lose weight and it'll happen. But it didn't necessarily really happen for us when we were in Toronto.
So that was 1 year went by. We're still trying nothing.
2.
I don't know if I'm sure some of you watching are also trying, and you know it can get annoying buying all those pregnancy tests.
And expensive.
And it's expensive, and it's emotionally traumatizing, taking test after test after test, and you're doing the work.
Yeah.
And you're unsuccessful. And so that was 2017. We had tried, because Jaden was born 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2017.
2.
We tried. 2018. We tried. 2019. So
Still
3
trying.
years
Yep.
of trials and tribulation, trying and trying and trying, and we still didn't get pregnant. And in 2020, God spoke to us. Yes, we are believers. For those of you that don't know us personally, we're Christians, and we believe in prayer and the Lord's direction. So God spoke to us about moving to Edmonton. We had a lot going on in our lives in Toronto. And for those of you that are trying to get pregnant, you know, the woman needs to be in a state of peace and calm. And we just felt like God was calling us to Edmonton, and we were really praying and believing that coming here would give us the right type of environment that we needed to conceive. So why don't you start us off? June 2020.
June? We didn't move here
July?
June. July
2020.
July 2020.
Long time ago.
We moved to Edmonton. It was a serious leap of faith.
Huge leap
Because
of faith, man.
remember, coronavirus had just started that year.
Yeah.
March that year. So things definitely didn't look like what they look like now. And we moved here, and we had gotten jobs ish. He got a job, I got a part-time job, and we started working. And of course, we didn't put the idea or the dream about us having a child on the back burner, because we know that God promised us a daughter, and we were still holding on to that promise. And one of Veron's good friends, he was a nutritionist and a fitness coach.
Shout out to you, Jay.
Yeah. And we paid money, invested, and went with him. I signed up with him, and through a lot of his trainings, diets, workouts, things like that, and a lot of discipline, I was able to lose 20 pounds.
Woo, woo.
So I came here 180, and I was able to drop to 160 within, I think, 4 months time. So that was huge. So then, of course, hearing so many years about lose the weight and then you will just get pregnant. We lost the weight and there was no baby still. So we decided to, interestingly enough, I remember I was bleeding. And for a couple, I think it was almost 2 weeks, and I went to the walk-in clinic and I seen the doctor, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I've just been bleeding. They did ultrasounds, everything. All the tests came back fine. So he was like, he asked me if, like, what was like, did I want to get pregnant? Is that something that I wanted? And I said yes. And this man, who is not my family doctor, just a regular walk-in doctor, he decided to refer me to a fertility clinic. And he referred me and I got in, and honestly, it's one of the best things that I've ever been, like the best places, clinics, the doctors, the team, Capital Women's Clinic, shout you out.
Shout out.
You guys have been amazing, still with me through this journey. And I remember going in and not feeling like a number, because many times when you see doctors, you feel like you're just another number. And I remember not feeling like that. And I was like, yes, I think I'm at the right place. And they started me on progesterone to induce a period, because I wasn't having periods naturally on my own. And then from there, I tried that for 2 months to see if that maybe would have me ovulate to be able to get pregnant. Didn't work. So then they added on letrozole, and we got letrozole, I believe it was March, April, May, or
Of what year?
April, last
2021.
2021, April.
Letrozole. That's what letrozole.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they put me on in April. And she said, I'm going to give you three rounds, which is, each round is the length of a month. So she said, I'm going to give you 3 rounds. And she said, after that, then we will start to look into other things like insemination, IVF. And for those of you who know, those treatments cost a lot of money.
Pretty penny.
So, tried it for 3 months. And I remember June, we went away for our 6-year anniversary. And we came back, I think it was in July. I felt a little bit nauseous. We tested and found out that we were pregnant.
Now, pause. Pause. If I was in church, I'd say somebody say pause. So listen, man. So just to rewind a little bit, from my perspective, I was absolutely holding on to God's promise. But mind you, we had been trying from 2017.
Yeah.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 years we were trying. So around 2020, I'll be honest with you guys, I had gotten a little bit discouraged. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm good with just my son. I'm not talking about from my wife. I'm talking about from my perspective. Husbands out there. That's honestly how I felt. And I remember I was driving home one day, and James Fortune, he's a gospel artist. He wrote this song. It's called Dream Again.
Yes.
I had never heard the song before. I'm listening to the song. The song is basically, the premise of the song is that we need to dream again. For those of us that have lost hope and lost faith, we need to dream again. Todd Galbraith does a great job on that song. And while I was driving, God gave me a vision of me holding my daughter at the hospital. Listen, y'all, when I had to pull over, I bawled for 45 minutes. No lie. 45 minutes. Because I had reached at a place where I was discouraged. And God gave us that vision, gave me that vision, and that really gave me what I needed to continue the journey. And fast forward a year later, after our anniversary, we were pregnant. In July of 2021. That's when we found out?
That's when we found out.
July 2021.
We were a month pregnant.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's keep the story going.
So after we found out we were pregnant, we were elated.
After 5 years.
5 years. We were like,
no
oh
pregnancy.
My gosh, it's happening.
Hundreds of tests. Hundreds.
It's possible for us. It can happen for us. And then a month later, so being 2 months pregnant, I remember my best friend Shanice was visiting me here, and I feel like I was working that day. So I was working and I needed to use the washroom. So I got up and I used the washroom, and like the one fear that you can think of being especially early pregnant, I after I used the washroom, wiped, and I just saw blood. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like immediately, like I could feel my heart sink into my bum, but in my mind I'm just like, no, Sam, it's not it, it's not it. Like, you waited so long for this, you guys have prayed so long for this, like there's no way that this is happening right now. So I cleaned myself up, whatever. Didn't tell anyone until Verone came home from work, and I told him that, yeah, like I've been bleeding all day. Called my doctor, and my doctor made me go to do some blood tests to check my HCG levels, and they were dropping. So that, if you don't know what that means that you're experiencing a miscarriage. So that was, I don't even think the word difficult holds enough weight to describe the season that we went through when that happened.
Because y'all have to remember, this is after 5 years.
Yeah.
Not 5 months.
Yeah.
Not 2 years. After 5 years.
Yeah.
And maybe we can speak from as persons of faith.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah, it was difficult.
It was challenging reconciling God's love with something that we didn't understand, that didn't necessarily reflect the love